All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the best kept secret that's really not a secret. We kind of just tend to ignore the obvious. I think even if it hasn't been put out there or said by bigger breeders, mid-level breeders, it's often been put out there and put on display. And us as new breeders, we choose to ignore it. So let's talk about it. Hey guys, it's Will, Flawless Exotic Creations, coming to you guys with another video this week. And first off, Merry Christmas Eve. Yes. Christmas is tomorrow. But we're going to jump into this video and talk about this mysterious topic that we want to kind of put out there. First off, let me give you a slight explanation on what we're attempting to do. We often try to put out disclaimers for anything controversial. We don't think this is really a controversial topic, but at the same time, we want our platform to kind of snowball into more people coming out with bigger, platforms, smaller platforms, putting out content in a manner of first perspective, their first person experience and dealing with different scenarios, getting into the industry, the hobby, the business, whatever it may be. So we want more to kind of come from this. If you've liked what we've been doing or been putting out, or if this is even your first time seeing, a video from us, hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you as a follower, a subscriber. Definitely hit that like button and that notification bell. So what is the big mystery? What are we going to talk about in this video? Well, we admire so many breeders that are doing it on a whole nother level that they've actually time and time again shown us the blueprint. It's like one of those sayings they used to say back in the day, what's understood don't have to be said. And I think we're seeing it, but we're not processing it as a whole. You have us, for example, that we go out and when we got started, we get these males and these powerful males, powerhouse males, and we're going to build these programs around it. I'm talking about us ourselves. And that's accurate. That's what we, attempt to do. We don't know everything, and we hardly know what we're doing most of the time. But we sit here and we dig and we prod and we look for the information and we ask questions. And in this field, it's extremely difficult because you have so many people from different walks of life. There's communication barriers left and right. There's things that's lost in translation and can spark disagreements and arguments. You can look at some of the comments, maybe not here, hopefully not here, but in some people's videos where you see someone ask a genuine question. Maybe it could have been, worded differently, but all of a sudden, months later, years later, two people that have never met each other, never interacted with each other, never purchased from each other, one may not like the other because of the response they got in the message section of a video. Or they perceive someone is talking about them in a video or content that they put out of more of a blanket statement, and they feel like they're being attacked, and now you have some friction in the industry. Those are the things we really don't like. But again, in this world, I was actually listening to Chris from Snakes and the Fat Man, and he has a lot. He's hilarious. I love watching his content. I love watching everyone's content, but he's accurate. In this world, everyone is not going to like everyone. That's just the world we live in. So, that being said, staying on track, what's this mysterious secret? Well, the secret to breeding right now, from what we're looking at from our perspective, newbies, this is going into our third breeding season. And for anyone that's taking it as a hobby all the way up to taking it as a business, you can use this and apply this as you see fit, or not use it at all. We've prided ourselves on collecting or purchasing really nice snakes, high quality examples of different traits and morphs and genes, and we wanted to tailor things around specific males. We ran into hiccups, having these crazy high dollar expensive males, getting them up to size, 2 years in, and you know what, they don't want to breed. And that's one of the gripes and complaints of new breeders like ourselves. But that forces you to kind of adjust the plan. Not really punt, but just make adjustments. Make sure you have a backup plan, a backup to your backup male. So we kind of put out videos on things like that for you guys as well. So hopefully you don't run into some of the issues we run into. At the same time, we tend to hold back a heavy assortment of females for different projects that we're going to be in. A lot of the times, once we sit down and we do our numbers after this season, it may look like the projection of females may overwhelm our actual capacity that we're able to hold. We still have racks that we haven't plugged in yet, and we're thankful for that. We're trying to plan for our production and what we create in the future. But at the same time, in this little bit of time that we've been in the game, we've been able to experience loss, of animals that we've been banking on, males and females. We've done videos on those, the different type of setbacks that can, occur, things that can make you close your doors, essentially, especially if you're too kind of gun-ho on one specific, I don't want to say one specific project, because you should be project driven, but maybe one specific snake. And if you, go out and accumulate a $20,000 collection, dollar amount is irrelevant, but a $20,000 collection surrounding one male, and that male dies, what's the value of that collection, to yourself? Yes, snakes have some sort of a value out there, but your key point, your key contributing factor in that equation for that project is gone. So you need to either replace it, or have a backup, or fold and sell off and get out. So what we're attempting to do is, when we reference it, because I've noticed in watching my own videos that here at Flawless, I'll look at it and I'll say, I always say what I mean by, but let me explain some of these terms. So when I reference raising the ceiling of the basement, that's not a derogatory remark at anyone's collection, nor our collection. It's just expressing that we want to increase the quality of animals that we're shooting to produce by banking on the side of, if we're blessed enough to produce a clutch, and the clutch makes it out of the egg, and the clutch is healthy, we have all these variables we have to overcome. But at that point, when everything's out of the egg, we're also increasing our odds that we don't hit, for example, whatever we would refer to as a lower end combination. It's nothing wrong with hitting those combinations, but the thing is, how are you strategically approaching that breeding plan or that breeding season to move that project forward? In our collection, we have several projects, so we try to hyper focus on each one and map things out accordingly so we can move forward. So back to that top secret. That top secret is going to be your females. So we talk on our males. Reason that we want to kind of elaborate a little bit on the females is because we don't see a lot of people talk about it, but we do see it in their actions. So that's why I always say, hey, what's understood don't have to be explained, doesn't have to be said. When you go to some of these big name breeders who are doing phenomenal jobs with what they do, Bob, Vu, Josh, Jackie, Canova, obviously, Ozzy, all of these huge breeders, Rice Reptiles, oh man, phenomenal breeder, phenomenal people. Love that family. It's a family business. That's what we strive to structure ourselves around. Man, I can't say enough great things about it. But in that same sense, you go out to buy an animal, you want to buy something that you could use in your projects. Fine. You produce animals, you want to hold back animals that's going to be high end, mid to high end things that you don't have in your collection, things that's gonna add a few things that you're looking to add in that project and move you forward, and identifying that some of these females is going to take 2 to 5 years to produce anything for you, and being okay with that. So we're definitely okay with that, knowing that generally speaking, for same gene to same gene combos, typically the females are going to cost you more on the front side of things. So if you're producing the majority of your collection and pushing the threshold on what you need on the female side and holding them back, you're also getting the more bang for your buck, because you're not going out and necessarily buying every single female every single year. But also, you don't have to throw that money out there on the acquisition of a female where the dollar amount is irrelevant at that time of purchase, but she also may be on the shelf for the next 5 years without giving you a clutch at a higher price point. So we have to kind of process those things, which brings in the conversation of some new genes, and maybe I'll elaborate on that in a later video. But how are some of these, breeders approaching it? And they're literally laying the blueprint in front of us without saying a specific dedicated video to it. And I'll use, again, Justin. He's the leader of the industry. I'll use him for an example. Again, we like everybody. We don't dislike anyone. We get along with everyone. We haven't had any personal dealings with Justin. I just looked at him from a business approach and love what he's doing. I think he's a staple in the community. I think he's a pillar of the community. And again, with all due respect, I'll use him for an example. If you get ABC gene, okay, you get ABC gene, no matter where you are, you're going to probably have a lot less notoriety than Justin. Once you start breeding this gene and you can show that it's recessive, it's incomplete dominant, you replicate the gene over and over, you do all your due diligence to kind of prove that it's genetic. And it sparks so much interest that you draw attention from a Canova. So Justin swings in. He's going to pay you a lot of money for that gene if it piques his interest. And that's for valid reasons. He's going to make his money back in his business planning, his approach. And from the outside looking in, he's a very, very smart man. So he could pay whatever he's going to pay. Dollar amount is irrelevant. He gets that gene. And how does he take off from that gene? He takes ABC gene. He obviously grows this gene out, gets as many as he needs or he sees fit for his projects and programs, and then he structures it around building a business, building a demand for that gene, whether it's through YouTube videos like this, whether it's through his Patreon, whether it's through clips on social media. He has an entire beast behind him. He has an animal behind him, a business animal, and I love it. That's why we admire approaches like this, and we do videos like this to kind of hopefully simplify some things and put it into a video platform, long form, to kind of explain it to the new breeders. New breeders, we find they're a little bit more apprehensive, and that's why we hope you find this channel very comforting and welcoming, and brings you in so we can chat down below. We don't argue, we don't go back and forth. We try to explain things in the most simplest form that we can. So you get ABC gene. He has it in his collection. He works with it, in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The initial investment is already out there. It's not relevant for him to turn around and hope to get that money back the next year, next 3 years. That's not in the game plan. Number one, he's very, very into, like we are, what can we produce? What's the next best thing we can do with this? What can we add? All right, I added that. I didn't like how that responded with that combo. I'm going to go this way. So we watch all these, Netflix videos, and we watch the way his mind works on video, again, because I don't know him personally. And I look at the business approach, and it's just genuinely smart. He can take ABC gene and take off running with it, and in 5-6 years he will have some things available to the public, and he will make the money back hand over fist. And people say, man, how, everything he touches, he talks about it and it jumps to the roof. And it's accurate because of his reach. He's done all his due diligence. The foundation has been laid. But also, as you move forward, your approach has to be proper. You can't worry initially about making the money back as fast as possible. When you're going to have this available. A prime example, we can reference this Maple Leaf ABC gene to like Cosmos. I don't know unless it's private deals, but I don't believe he's released any Cosmos, to the open market. I'm sure he has a waiting list for it. But when he starts dropping crazy, insane combos, they're going to sell and jump out of the tubs like hand over fist. And some people always question, well, why? Oh, it's just because it's Justin. No, he's done the legwork. So in his facility, in his tubs, in his racks, you have to understand the importance of females. Ozzy does the same thing, where every year he, has a graduation system where he adds a few genes to this combo. He'll let go a breeder and it'll be sky high. But those breeders he's letting go and moving away from, he already has the replacement. And the breeders that he's letting go, some of the higher end ones are still some of the first ones to kind of hit the market. And he's already been breeding them for 2-3 years. So again, keeping the best of the best that he's shooting for the odds. And when I say he, Justin, Ozzy, all the big name people, this is the approach to that business plan. So when you do get an ABC gene, you're not worried because of, as far as falling behind on who's the originator or whatever it may be, because you have 4 or 5 females that's sitting in tubs. That's your 4 recessive, 3 recessive, het this, 6 incomplete dominant, these $10,000, $20,000 females that you're sitting in these tubs where they're ready to go and waiting on that male for whenever that male is ready. So you take that ABC gene, now you can reproduce that, replicate it, and it's triple het for this or quad het for this, and you throw the allelics in it with this, and they have these huge game plans that I can't even begin to think of, because with all these genes, there's so many different directions you could go in that literally the concept phase of thinking is endless. And they jump into it and they come up with some incredible combinations, but all of them are not successful off the rip. Some of them, they're going to look at it and be honest, I didn't really like it with this, or I didn't really like it with that, and go a different direction. So back to the importance of females, the reason why they're able to move, and it doesn't matter the size of your collection, just make sure that you have quality in your tubs, quality in your collection, quality in, quality out. There's going to be room where you're going to have to make sure you still have some simple genes. I was talking with a lot of people like KG and D over at Bond Projects. It's great to still have, a clown, single gene clown, or a single gene pod. We still have those in our collection. What happens when you do go that kind of mysterious gene or trying to figure out something? Maybe you want to put it to a normal, that you have in your collection. Maybe you want to put it to something that doesn't have a het influence so you can see how it responds and how it reacts. You need to have these things in your collection, but every time you have one of these snakes, you need to make sure that you have the infrastructure in place where you can have a normal or 2 or 3. You can have a clown or 2 or 3, a pod or 2 or 3. And in that collection with those, you're still, if you're a business or if you're an up and coming business, you still have other infrastructure, other projects that you're also working that's going to be on the revenue side. That's responsible for making revenue for the business. Because again, if you're testing things out with a gene in the testing phase, or if it's a gene that you purchased, it's a gene that you already developed and you figured out that it's genetic, you still have to have an establishment phase of the gene where now you need to replicate said gene numerous times, males and females, expand a little bit. You can't just create and sell off what you create, or you will fall behind the 8 ball, number one, on your own project. And number 2, you're going to get pissed off with the end result, because if X breeder, picks up your gene because you made it readily available, takes off with the gene, doesn't sell anything for 2-3 years, you sell off what you have because you're a smaller breeder like ourselves, and 5 years down the road they're bigger than you are in your own gene, and now you're upset. So again, it's just a gentle approach in trying to explain what the big secret is. And the big secret is, along with having phenomenal males and females, just make sure that you're purchasing quality, make sure you're holding back quality females. We do live and breed by the standard of, we would rather buy our males. We obviously, in order to have any type of collection, you got to buy females as well, but we would rather buy our males, produce our females, and keep stepping forward. Now, to caveat that, understand this is not the end-all be-all blueprint to anything. Creating this video here to create some conversation down below. Don't want to push you guys one way or the other. Want to give you a little bit of insight on how we think and how we move forward. And no, there's no one way to do anything. We're stuck in a project right now, for an example. And I'm sorry, this is a long video. Let us know if you enjoy these longer videos. We're stuck in a project right now, but we're happy to be stuck. We're in this HypoPod Ultra Male project. And in that project, you know, we purchased from Ozzy and got a few surprises in the purchase that we purchased from Ozzy 2 years ago. And that surprise was, you know, we purchased a super inchy orange stream leopard HypoPod 50% het ultra male, and after breeding and testing, he's actually a super inchy super orange dream leopard HypoPod het ultra male. Extremely powerful, extremely expensive, but well worth the dollars. And he's really did his thing this last season. This was his first season producing, and I mean, we really had a complete layout for him, and we followed that same method. We had, just for him specifically, probably 12 females all laid out for him. Did he breed 12 females? No, he didn't. But we wanted to have extras just in case we ran into some of the issues that we talk about, where maybe a male just don't like a female for some reason. And that's really the lock and pairing that you were super excited about and planning on. So we had a ton of hypopods, a ton of hypopod combos. We have ultra male pods, we have ultra male het pods, pod het ultra males, all kind of combos in them. And he truly hit some home runs. I believe he produced 8 or 9 clutches with us. And then the other 3 or 4 females, they just stayed in the rack. Exactly what I'm trying to say. Stayed in the rack, grew. And now, you know, they've been ready to breed, but it also allows us to kind of expand and go a few different directions, create some hets and things of the sort to kind of throw an audible out there. But again, what would have happened if he decided not to breed this season at all? We had a backup plan. We had an inchy ultra male pod that was the backup, and he didn't breed at all. We didn't pair him at all. We didn't try to pair him with the extra females. It just wouldn't move us forward the way we wanted to move, especially when we were already receiving the success from that Ozzy boy. But we're stuck in that project because now, in theory, outside of what we have a lot of stuff breeding right now that's not even available for purchase. So we have nothing that we can even go and buy forward. Even on the male side, there's nothing that we can go and buy forward, which forces us also to hold back a male. The male we ended up holding back ended up being a super inchy orange dream leopard ultra male pod het hypo. So now we kind of have a 1-2 punch when that male gets to size, and now we can start working on, you know, the penta recessives and make things a little bit easier moving down the road. We can also add some very key incomplete dominance to that and be very excited. We could take one of those males and take it to our Grim Reaper female. We could take one of those males and take it to a tragic female, some genes that's untapped, and literally get, you know, 3, 4, 5 incomplete dominants involved with those genes, as well as carrying along the 3 recessives at play. Again, just trying to give you guys a snapshot of how we think. You got to think bigger for yourself. There's nothing wrong with starting small. You just want to progress at your own pace. Don't stay stagnant and never stay satisfied. Anyway, it's Will, Flawless Exotic Creations. Merry Christmas to you guys, and we will see you, or you will see us, Thursday. Later.